time for all things money matters now, when we take you on over to the eNCA Money Desk. That's where we find my colleague, Rofhiwa Madzena, standing by. So the Road Accident Fund legal battles there affecting their ability to pay out claimants.
That's right, a very, very dire situation indeed. So the Road Accident Fund is accusing about 85 law firms of refusing to hand back over 100,000 files with victims' claims. These are law firms that the fund fired. On top of that, the state-owned entity says it may be facing a 15 billion rand loss in revenue for this financial year. The fund's current operating model has been identified as the biggest contributor to its financial woes. Now, under the current model, it owes around 17 billion rand to claimants. The RAF is now saying that it will change its model over the next few years, and it will move away from litigation and work towards finalizing the claims within 120 days. Currently, it takes up to 5 years to finalize the case. And joining me now to discuss this further is the fund's CEO, Mr. Collins Letswalo. Mr. Letswalo, many thanks for your time this afternoon. Let's perhaps start with the legal issues you are having with your former law firms. Why are they refusing to hand over these files of claimants?
Firstly, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the viewers. I think we must put matters for the record. We have not fired anyone. The contract of this law firms ended on the 31st of May 2020. In preparation for that ending, we on the 20th of February wrote them letters asking them to return the files, which they failed to do, and they still refused, and then they took the matter to court. Earlier on, they had asked for an interim order stopping us from issuing out those notices. Judge Davis ruled in our favor, and therefore they were supposed to return the file, which they did not do. They are refusing with the file simply because they want to hold us to ransom. That's our final explanation as we've explained. And I think just for the record as well, the 15 billion you are talking about is the loss of revenue as a consequence of COVID-19. You know that we get our money through the fuel levy. Consequently, if there is less fuel that is sold, we'll also have less revenue. So we anticipate that due to the economic slowdown, there would be about 15 billion, but it's an estimate.
And let's just talk about the consequences, I suppose, that are being felt by the law firms not cooperating with the Road Accident Fund. How much of a backlog does the Road Accident Fund currently have?
Well, the backlog as it is, it's unfortunately the number of files that they have, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because it usually happens that in 120 days, we are supposed to complete in 120 days, investigate and settle a claim. We have been doing this over a period of 1,475 days, which is on average 5 years. So it's only the cases that someone will take us to court and issue summons if after 120 days we have not settled the claim. So the reality is that all the files that are sitting with the... Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please continue.
Okay, there's someone in the background on your side that is still has not muted, and it is having a feedback. And the person mute, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We do have a little bit of a sound in the background there. We just muted it. Can you try continue with your answer now?
Yes, I'm saying that in the usual it will be 120 days within which we should settle these claims. And if we don't settle within 120 days, of course, people will then take us to court, and that will be summons, which is litigation. And that litigation in the previous model, which is the old model that we are seeking to replace now, those matters will then be sent to a panel attorney, and they will have those files. So the backlog is really the same amount, is about 183,000 files.
Okay, I have to wrap up, but there's one more that I want to ask you quickly. This new operating model that you are talking about initiating within the Road Accident Fund, the time frame of this and really how it will improve operations given the struggles that you are having with these law firms.
Yes, remember we spend about 17 billion on what we call administrative costs. And 10.6 billion of that would go to this model where we do mostly litigation. 99% of these things are usually settled at the doorstep of the court. So what we are seeking to do now is to settle these matters within 120 days. Our anticipation is that in the next 3 years, we should be able to save about 75% of this legal cost, which would be about 7.5 billion that will go to the claimant. And I think that is what the intention of government has been all along. And this old model has been a problem, and that's what we think to resolve.
Very interesting insights there, an acknowledgement of some of the issues because of the lockdown and a plan that is being put in place to deal with those issues. Insights coming from Collins Letswalo, who's the CEO of the Road Accident Fund. So do very, very big issues in the road accident funds with people waiting up to 5 years to get their claims paid out to them. But the CEO, they're very confident about this new operating model that they are building within the company to reduce the backlog that they're currently facing and to deal with these legal matters.
Not an ideal situation at all. Thank you very much, Rofhiwa Madzena. You're watching eNCA. More news for you after this.